Today we get to show you a prototype, a one-off. We know you like those things. It's a very special guitar from Taylor that we happen to have in our hot little hands today. And let's also call this an ode to Walnut. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us on the web at alamomusic.com. If you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you want to support our channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast. It's called the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes are coming. And of course, you can buy things from us like this really cool one-off Taylor guitar, which I'm going to tell you all about. Now, you might have noticed there's just one of me here today. That's right. It's kind of like when Batman would show up in a movie without Robin. And yes, if you're keeping track at home, I am Batman in this equation for two reasons. One, I'm older than Cooper, and two, I'm grumpier than Cooper. And so, golly shucks, he is gone. And it falls to me to tell you about this great guitar. But I think I'm up to the task. So let's talk about it. What I have in my hands is a very cool prototype. It's a one-off. It's one of one. And it is a Taylor guitar. The model number in this case would be GACE, which just simply means a Grand Auditorium Cutaway Electric, because it's a one-off. It's a prototype. It doesn't fall into any category of series. But the closest thing that it would be a 400 series. It has 400 series appointments on this guitar. So we've got white binding, we've got the finial inlay, a Goya shell rosette around there, all of the things that you would expect to see on a 400 series, except for really, really, really nice looking wood. Now, what's interesting about this is we were contacted by Taylor and said, hey, you can get this. We think you should. It's a very, very cool guitar. And it has a few little telltale notes in there. And hopefully they're not upset with me saying this. I'm going to say it anyway. The initials BT were utilized. This is BT's wood. It's presentation grade, and it was part of kind of this prototype, and they could sell it. BT, I'm trying to think of who at Taylor Guitars would have the initials of BT. It might be Bob Taylor. It might be someone else. I don't know. But I'm thinking it's Bob. And, of course, Bob in his stash would have beautiful walnut like this because it figures. Get it? It's figured. Anyways, I'll leave the jokes to Cooper when he gets back. So what we have here is presentation grade, extremely figured walnut on the back and sides of this guitar. And it is stunning. It really is just a beautiful set of walnut with this beautiful two-piece back. A lot of figuring on the back and the sides. And it is paired with a spruce top. It's a gorgeous guitar. So being that it's basically 400 series appointments with extremely figured wood and it's one-off, it becomes one of those kind of mythical things that you see pop up on the internet from time to time. It turns out they do exist. You can get a lot of guitar at a great value when you stumble upon things like this, which are basically kind of these tests of things that manufacturers are thinking about putting in production and trying out. In this particular case, it's pairing two of my favorite North American tone woods, which is walnut and spruce. Now, if you've been watching this channel, we've shown you walnut a few times. Recently, we actually had a very cool catch guitar from Taylor that was walnut. We hinted that there's some cool stuff that we have in the works with Martin that has walnut. But even going back, I remember there was a NAMM Special Edition 500 series that was all walnut back in the day. And I've just always been a fan of this tone wood. For one, it's a North American wood. So that means there's sustainability there, and it isn't having to come across the world. And walnut's just really a beautiful wood on its own. But as a tone wood, I like where it sits. It's a little bit different. To my ear, it's kind of like Koa in the fact that it marries elements of a lot of different tone woods that we're more familiar with. So I would say the big traditional back and side tone woods, the big three, would be rosewood, mahogany, and maple. And most of us are familiar with what those sound like. Rosewood, deep bass, high-end chimey highs, a scooped mid-range, and overtones. Mahogany is very dry with a pronounced mid-range, and maple is dry without a pronounced mid-range or scooped mid-range, just a very flat response with nice sustain and little overtones. Walnut and Koa kind of sit there in the mix while also looking just drop dead gorgeous, right? So with walnut, I think of it as a little bit of all three of these with some characteristics. It's got a mid-range, but it's more kind of to the low mid, and that's where the overtones tend to sit. There's not a super present bass, there's not a super present high end, but there is a crispiness and airiness to it. And as I'm describing this to you off camera, I'm seeing Josh, nod his head because he gets to listen to these guitars in his headphones. And so, if you ever want a crash course in what tone woods do, just come in here while we're filming sometime and listen in high fidelity to some of the guitars that we're playing. When you pair that with spruce like this, you get all of those things spruce affords us in guitars, right? It's a nice kind of response. It's a nice dynamic response that comes through here with a flat-ish EQ curve. And in this particular guitar that I've played today, I really liked the way it responded both to a pick and to fingerstyle stuff. There's a certain airy presence to it that I really dig. So no more talking. We're going to take a listen to the guitar, and then we'll share a little bit more on the other side. So check it out. So there you have it. Walnut is back. And I really like Walnut kind of making some additional appearances, particularly in Taylor's lineup. If you're familiar with Taylor guitars, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, they had a Walnut series. In the late 90s, it was often paired either with a walnut top or with a cedar top or an Engelmann spruce top. And then Sitka spruce was often the thing in the early 2000s models. And they've done a few different walnuts. They've done Clara walnut, which is pretty common, and that's what's on this. They've done grafted walnut, where you can see the graft line between a Clara and a black walnut tree, which is very, very cool on its own, because not only is it really beautiful, but it speaks to the fact that these are organic things, that these trees, these plants that grow up and are then given a second lease on life as these beautiful instruments that we get the opportunity to play. So hopefully you heard a little bit of what I was saying from a tonal standpoint on this guitar. I really like the responsiveness. I like the overtones that you have without it being, really overtone heavy. It means that it lends itself very well to a pretty fast pick attack or fingerstyle stuff without getting too muddy, which rosewood in certain circumstances can. So I tend to prefer rosewood with like long sustaining kind of held notes and things where you really want to give it space. But when you want to play a little faster, or you want to kind of fill up that space a little bit more, then sometimes a drier tone wood really works well. So pretty cool opportunity here to own something that's unique. And also, I'm going to say to you, it's a very cool preview of something else. Now, this is a much more affordable option to get into extremely figured walnut like this. This guitar, current price on it is $39.99. You can get more information on our website at alamomusic.com. But if you're interested in walnut and you want something a little bit more extravagant, I'm going to tell you right now, for the 50th anniversary, there's a very, very cool presentation series video that's coming, and you want to make sure that you are locked in, subscribed with notifications turned on, so that you can see that, because that's a pretty stunning guitar that's also, again, making great use of walnut as a tone wood. But in the meantime, we have a really cool value here in something that is really custom, truly unique, one-off, and perhaps might come from a very famous guitar builder's personal stash of wood, it might seem. So if you are interested, like I said, check this out on our website. It's alamomusic.com. We'll have photos that we've taken of this guitar there, so you can see it in all of its splendor. You can chat with us online. But also, I invite you to give us a call at any time that we're open. You can call when we're closed, but we're not going to answer. Leave a message. Or come in and try it out for yourself. It won't last long, so I'll leave you with a PSA. If you've seen this 6 months from now, it's highly likely we don't have this guitar anymore. And if you'd like to have something like this made for yourself, that is something that we also do, helping people navigate that path to a custom guitar so that you also can have something truly unique. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching our channel, and I will see you next time.